Oh yeah. Alright. On this one we're going to stop doing some car stuff, start doing some blacksmithy stuff, because it's the season, I guess. I've been trying to figure out a way to get into some of the like Renaissance fair type stuff, or I don't know what else. The stuff where you go travel and build crap in a field with a bunch of weirdly dressed people. Love those people. Anyway, so I decided I need to make myself a new forge. So the one I've got is literally, it's probably the fourth or fifth one I made. This one is just a wheelbarrow with a bunch of refractory brick and cement, making a fire pot in it, and then just kind of put in a stand table pedestal thing, and then it gets fed with a shop vac. Now, a lot of things I like about the design, I made it for charcoal, for one. For two, it's like withstood like 3 hurricanes, so it ain't going nowhere. Problem is, it ain't going nowhere, and I need it to go in the back of a trailer and me be able to pretty much by myself wheel it around, you know, something that's got wheels still, and obviously doesn't weigh like 700 pounds. What I've got here, which is going to be very difficult for people to understand, I think, is some, yeah, you ain't going to understand that at all. Anyway, basically what we're going to try and do is cut out a couple of trapezoids out of some 1/4 inch, maybe a little bit thicker than 1/4 inch steel. A couple of trapezoids, a couple of squares, a couple of weird archy block looking shape deals, and we're going to make the fire pot for a coal forge, not a charcoal forge. Granted, nothing's stopping you from running charcoal in this. Really the biggest difference that this one's going to have is that it's going to have a clinker breaker, which you need in a coal coke forge kind of thing. And also I'm trying to, you know, with each forge I make, I'm trying to make them better and better. The last one was the first one I really used a small confined fire pot that really made it possible to do Damascus, or even just basic forge welding. The last couple forges I had they got real hot and they burned, you know, they ate up fuel real fast, which was cool when you're just doing kind of basic-y things, where you're just making fire pokers, or you're just making bottle openers, or you're just making knives that are just out of mono steel. They're just out of single steel, or you're not doing any technical forge welding. But now I'm trying to make a lot of axes. I'm trying to make a lot of tomahawks, throwing axes, and all that kind of stuff. And the best way that I can do that is the good old fold-over bow tie technique. And you need a lot of forge welding to do that. And you need to be able to do it reliably and quickly. And so the basic science is that what I had in past forges was a really oxidizing flame. It got stuff really hot, really fast, but it burned a lot of steel. And it it was a huge, you had to really know what you were doing to rein that beast in. As well as when you have an oxidizing flame, you are, you know, introducing a lot of oxygen to the flame, which means you're going to rust your steel, or you're going to build a lot of scale and slag, and that's kind of the kryptonite to forge welding. Now, what you want is the opposite. You want a real fuel-rich fire. You want to get as much oxygen out of this. I got like a ghost wisp thing going on. That's cool. You want to try and get all the oxygen you can out of the situation. So that's why that's why we're building a fire pot. That's the whole reason for a fire pot. If you were like me and you got buried down into the weeds of like size, dimensions, and shapes and all that great stuff, and why this, why that, this will be a great one to start off with, because I kind of sifted through a lot of that crap, and this was pretty much the shape that I ended up with. It's going to be very small. It's not going to be, and there's a reason for that. It's not going to be a big, massive, massive fire pot like you'd see in like a brake drum forge. And the reason for that is because whatever's in the fire pot is what's burning, and it's going to be burning quick. It's going to be burning fast. You're going to be eating up a lot of fuel. So if you have a massive fire pot, right, you're going to be eating up a lot of fuel. You're going to be eating it up very quickly, and that's just expensive, for one. And for two, you don't really need it. You don't need that much area to be heated up, be that hot all the time. So it's impractical. It doesn't make any sense. You don't need it. Even if you're doing, like I do, big knives. I watch a lot of guys like, oh yeah, most knives you're making with a 4-inch blade and a 5-inch. No, I was making 11.5-inch blades, 6-inch handles. I was making massive knives. I'm making friggin' short swords, man. And so I was like, oh, I need a big surface area to heat it up. You don't. You really don't. You can run it, if it's really that big, you can heat it up in sections and kind of run it back and forth. But it's kind of the only time that you really need the whole blade hot is when you're quenching it. And for that, you can get as weird as you want. You can get a cast iron pipe, kind of lay it half over, or stack up some refractory, or just really overfill your forge with your forge table. Just pack a lot of coal or a lot of charcoal in. Get it to where it kind of makes a more, makes a bigger area. Then you're fine. But you don't need to do that all the time. Anyway, enough talking about it. Let's go ahead and let's go start trying to cut some of this stuff out. I'm gonna be cutting a lot of it out with an angle grinder. Alrighty then. Yeah, I need to clean all of this up. That's the crank blower, by the way, in case you couldn't figure that out. So this is the steel that I bought for this. As you can see, I procrastinated the crap out of it. And, it's been a minute since I decided to do this project. I don't even remember how big it is. It's 12 inches by, 12 inches? Yeah, 12 inches by 12 inches. As well as another piece over here that's about 12 by ninja by 6. 12 by 6. So there's two of these big 12 by 12 plates, one 12 by 6. I think I did the math, and it should be the right amount of steel. If not, I got a few pieces of scrap. Now the rest of this, I'm trying to do this obviously balling on a budget, like I do everything. Now, bed frames are what we're going to try and make the actual frame of the, what it's going to stand on, and maybe what's around the edges to kind of help keep the coal in. The fire pot, which is where all the really hot coals are, which is why we're using 1/4-inch-ish steel. Realistically, you probably want something thicker, but once again, I'm kind of cheap, and I'm not 100% sure this venture is actually going to result in actually being paid real money. So I'm not trying to get totally sunk down into it, because like I said, I've already got a functioning forge. Now 1/4-inch will do. It should be plenty fine for the foreseeable time, and then once it burns out, we'll plate it in with some more. It'll be fine. How bad could it be? The other thing too is coal and charcoal are very insulated. Once they're kind of coked in, you have sort of an ash wall that'll help out. Anyway, too much science. Need to do more. Let's start cleaning all this crap off. Okay, I'm gonna do some layout. Conveniently. Nice. You straighten your broke legs because you can't hold a damn phone. They're making phones the size of computers. take 476. Alright, where'd my measuring stick go? There it is. Okay. Now, if you notice on this fancy sheet of paper, there are some very precise-ish measurements in a couple of places. I built the thing in Fusion, essentially, just so I could figure out how much steel I needed to buy, because I'm not good at math. So, and it being kind of a trapezoidal cone pyramid thing, I don't really know how to do the math for that, because I'm kind of dumb. So I cheated, the same way I did in school. Who knew? That's what they were teaching you the whole time. So, I don't quite understand how I bought two 13 or 12-inch plates, 12 by 12 plates, and expected to get a piece that on one side was 13.6 inches. But I assume that I'm going to cut this thing in half somehow. Like I said, it's been a minute since I actually designed this, and am now building it, so I'm trying to remember how I designed it. Alright, you ain't gonna be able to see this very well. I'm gonna try and give you the layout. Right? So, essentially, gosh, you can't see this at all. I marked out center line both ways, and I'm using this as my reference. So I will not cut this edge, right? This is the outer edge of one of the trapezoids. Bang. Boom. Measured my first. Did it twice because I'm dumb. Marked out my 13.6 measurement. And then from this side, marked out my 6.6 measurement. Drew my line. Have my one line, my bottom line, and then I can do the same on this side. And I should be able to get both sides out of this out of one piece, in theory. So why did I buy two? Am I smarter now than I was before, or am I not thinking of something? I might not be thinking of something. Alright, we're going to try this on the bandsaw, which, wow, there's not one working light bulb over here. Can I poke it with a stick? Come on. Come back to me. Come on. You're so close. I can see you trying. Feels great. Love it. Favorite pastime. Come on. Yeah! Ha! I can see clearly now the light bulb works. Alright. I still can't really see my lines, but I can see when I cut my finger off. Praise God. Alright, let's do it. Little did I know, I bought body armor. All right, abrasives it is. For your viewing pleasure, we're gonna adjust you over that. Wait, come on. Come on now, come on. I know it's dusty and you have no grip, but just get over it. Stand for something. if you fall and break my phone, I'm going to be just not very happy. Is my butt still in the shot? Do I have any safety? I have a respirator. Is it full of termite crap? I've got no safety glasses, but I got a respirator now. Okay, before I start, I just want to say that I passed geometry. That was the only math class that I actually did good at, but it doesn't show here. Oh man, that was so boneheaded. So, I didn't think about the fact that this angle right here would be based on the center line of this and not the center line of the shape that I'm trying to make, making it symmetric. So good job, dum-dum. You now have a non-symmetrical rectangle that we're going to make. So basically, the mod is that I'm just going to cut this right in half, and then I'm going to have to adjust on the other plate. I'm going to have to adjust the sides, or the front and the back, however you want to look at it, the smaller trapezoid shape. One of those will be fine. The other one will have to be adjusted because this line is much longer than this line by about 1 inch. So the other way I could do this is I could make this shorter, but then I'm going to make everything different, and I'll end up with an even smaller fire pot. Now I'm going to end up with a slightly longer fire pot. The depth should be about the same though, which is really kind of the more important part. I am kind of a little frustrated because it's just stupid. But sometimes you miss. Alright? It's dark, okay? Here's my excuses. Okay, I can't even see the freaking layout lines except for that one. Alright? There's other ones on here. Can you see them? I can't. There, excuses. Yeah, that's it, buddy. Let it all out. Yeah, you cut that steel. Think about what it did to you. It made you look so stupid like 5 minutes ago. Yeah, you know what else you should do? Right when you cut it, you should kick it. That'll teach you a lesson. Yeah. You should break out the taekwondo and just let's do a little fly, little low fly kick. Yeah, there you go. Good job. Okay. We now have two identical shapes that are non-symmetrical. Ah, damn it. Anyway, so this other plate, that one, I got to do the smaller trapezoidal objects. We're back-ish. So, things have kind of gotten off the rails. Whatever measurements that I had in the beginning, just throw those out the window. You can use them as guidelines if you want, but you're not going to end up with what I've got here. So if what I end up with when I actually use it is real big pimping, you know, do with that as you will. But it seems to be a lot larger than I initially wanted it to be. It's still going to be smaller than a brake drum forge because those, especially if you get like the 11-inch brake drums, you know, they get pretty ridiculous. Anyway, today's challenge, well, let me bring it up to speed a little bit. Here's what we got so far. Right? Yep. Beautifully welded and totally square. But it will be good enough for what we're doing. I haven't decided if I'm going to go back and weld it on the other side. I don't know if that's necessarily necessary. But the big challenge, what I've been kind of procrastinating and trying to figure out how I'm going to do it, is how to put a hole in the middle of this and through at least one more plate like this, I think. I might be able to get away with not doing that, but haven't really thought about that far yet. As of right now, the plan is to put a hole through this, which is going to be in the bottom of the forge, and then cut out a couple of 3-inch squares, one of which will be split in half, so there's a channel to run a rod through to, activate the clinker breaker. And then the bottom will be the cap to make that trough. So, what I bought today in my Harbor Freight expeditions, oh boy, is this. Bop. Now, if you notice, this is 1 1/8 inches. The plans called for a 3/4 inch hole. They don't have this in 3/4 inch. And also, kind of just eyeballing it, 3/4 inch might be a little bit too small for how big I now see that this pot is. And that might be because I suck at measuring things. Whatever. We're not getting to the part of the show where I'm actually good at, which is just making it up as I'm going. But it's carbide tipped. It says it goes through steel. It says it goes through iron. It says it goes through stainless. Yeah. And it has a cutting capacity of 3/16, which is a 1/16 under where we are with 1/4 inch plate. But we're going to try it anyway. If this doesn't work, we're going to get creative. I don't know. Alright, now for the sketchy part. And the noisy part, probably. Get another haircut. It's been a while. Alright. Do I have any? No, I'll just use that later. Alright. Let's go ahead and lay this out. Okay, so basically what you're seeing me do here is I'm laying out the lines to cut out this that 6x12 plate down into these 3-inch plates, which are going to make up the housing for the clinker breaker and the spot for the air intake and all that kind of stuff. Pretty basic stuff. Just wanted to make sure it was explained. Okay, so it's been like 4 hours because I had to fight my welder and I had to figure out what I was going to do. Behold, the latest in clinker breaker technology, the marshmallow. Yes, very, very complex. It's kind of an eggish shaped thing. Bop, bop. Not too complicated. Ought to work for what I'm going to do. And if not, then I'll fix it. It's not that big of a deal. And that was just made with the outcuts of this through 1/4 inch piece of rod. And we'll end up kind of bending the handle onto that. And we'll be straight. So I'm not going to weld this up yet. I might weld this bottom plate in place. But I'm not going to weld this for one reason. I don't know where the blower is going to go. Because I want to have it kind of done, standing on a stand at the height that I want. And I want to see what feels comfortable where the blower is and where the clinker breaker is. Just something that's going to irritate me if I build it and it's in a stupid place, or a place where it's like impossible to use. So I think I would like the blower. Let me turn this off because I'm sure this is just great. I think I'd like the blower. So picture this isn't upside down, right? I think if I'm feeding steel in here long ways, right, like I think that I would be, I think I want the blower kind of candy cornered so that I can more easily kind of turn and be like, hey, what's up, everybody? How you doing? You like how I do? You want steaks? We could do steaks. Like, communicate with everybody and all that stuff. Now, doing that, I got to think about it. The clinker breaker is going to be straight off or I could adjust it to the other side. You know, if I build it straight and then I have the blower off to the side, I got to think about how I'm going to clock everything, and then also how I'm going to mount it. And I just want to have it in real life in front of me, out of bed frames, before I commit to anything too pain in the assy to fix. Basically what's happening now is I got to cut certain sizes of that stuff to a specific length multiple times to make the frame. Got new cutoff discs, so that one's smoked. That's probably not a good place for the polishing wheel. Let's get to it.